Saint, how's it going?
Hey, it's Salty Whale. All right, all right, all right. Is this going to be a Salty Whale production? Is this going to be a Fabled Hunters production? Or we'll figure it out. We'll do both. This is
Sounds good to
cross
me.
streaming. Never cross streams.
What movie's that from? Spaceballs, right?
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking A, that's classic. So how are
That's
you
that is
doing?
classic. Yeah. I think they redid it on Entourage, but it was like Vinny and no, it was Turtle and the brother never cross swords, something like that. Anyways, let's not get too many giggities in this episode. What's up, man?
Not too much. I'm just excited about all the fab news that's been dropping lately.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited about it too, and I'm excited about making more content and just reaching out, talking to one of the OGs. Right, you're probably one of the most prominent collectors, and it's been a while. I think we haven't made much content ever since Monarch, right?
Yeah, well, we chatted I think last fall, right around when Tales came out. I started doing my channel, so we did a
Okay.
podcast and we chat here and there all the time. But
Oh,
yeah, we did a
absolutely.
podcast last fall, but we haven't done anything like this since then.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been at least like 6 months. So
Mhm.
there've been a lot of updates. I hope you're enjoying Everfest. I know you're opening no shortage of that product, right?
Oh yeah, I opened 200 boxes of that. I've had to actually crack addiction this year because I had never really collect boxes. I'm like, all right, I just decided to put some Monarch boxes behind me. I opened 25 cases of Monarch this year too.
Really?
Hmm.
Very nice, very nice. I really haven't had the opportunity to crack myself, but I made content about this. I contracted an LGS, support your local game store guys. I
Hmm.
contracted an LGS to open over 1,000 boxes of Everfest for me, and I told them just to send me the Bravos and the Grandeurs so that I had a copious amount of my two favorite cards from that set. So that was really good. What I didn't account for was I think they might have picked out the gradable copies, which, it's a little bit of a gray area, but it is what it is. I'm happy with the raw cards no matter what, gradable or not gradable.
Oh yeah, I mean, Everfest is a challenge though. Like I pulled six grandeurs, and three of them had really bad centering. Other ones had really minor scuff marks. So that's also a
Yep, yep.
challenge too. Is like it's fun opening all these boxes, but getting those really pristine cards takes a lot of hits to
It's
even do it.
really, really tough. It's really tough. And things, the grandeurs specifically, are like off centered, but diagonally off centered. There's like a tilt. It's very unfortunate, the centering. And I heard that a lot of the packs, especially that slot that has the dull cap, the Arcanite skull cap, the Majestic slot and the Arcanite slot, usually, a lot of them see damage. It's probably just a result of, the printing process at Cardamundi. So it's a little unfortunate, but you buy cards to play with, you buy cards to collect, and that makes it that much more challenging to get the really nice condition ones.
I mean, that's part of the fun. It's like, all right. How many does it take to get the hit? You get excited about the hit, then you get expect the quality, and you get the double hit if you get like a really clean copy. So it's like
Yep, yep. It's
it's
like,
one of those
oh,
things.
this is a chance at a quad, and even I hear tens are coming out. Card Vault, that same TCG company, the same LGS company, just released a video on the graded group, on our graded group, of like all these quads, and I think they even had like a 10 vexing pull hand. So hey, they knew what they were doing. They picked out the best copies and they graded them.
Wow, they had a 10. I haven't really seen that many tens in Fab.
Yeah, cold foil 10, they're not easy to come by, man. One in many thousands to get 110 because of how strict their grading is when it comes to tens, how strict it actually has been, as well as just the print quality of cold foils.
Yeah, I got quite a few cards at BGS. I got a batch coming out soon. I mean, it says 12 plus months. It's already been like 15 months, I think. So anytime we'll have a batch. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
Some of my batches are from 18 months ago, and they're still just coming back. Literally, October and November of 2020 submitted batches are just coming back, just getting graded and just getting sent now.
oh yeah, I was talking to my rep the other day too. They're saying something similar to that. Mine was February. Like I hit the deadline right before they cut off the price change.
Oh, you're getting your February batches back already. That's
Not,
awesome.
not not yet, but very soon. But they keep telling
Okay,
me very
okay.
soon for the last few months. So
Oh, okay. I got it. So they're still stuck. that makes sense because I probably have a dozen batches from January, of which I received 0 of, but October, November, December are making their way back.
Sweet. I mean,
Yeah.
I was surprised that Card Vault did the fast grading of some of these things too, because
Yeah.
Vex and Coolham, they got tens though, which is good. But
Well,
those
they
cards
had
are like,
110 and they got like 30% quads, and they're listing those quads on eBay for like $1,000 each. And I think they're holding back the tens because if they know it's good for them, they want to wait till those really, really scarce, hard to get grades, go up in value. And maybe one day, years down the line, they sell them.
yeah, that makes sense. You want to hold stuff like that. It's very
Yeah,
rare.
sure. Don't hold
Well,
all
one
your
for
money in that
collectability
stuff.
purposes
That's
too. Like you want to keep your, best stuff too. Enjoy
yeah.
it. But
So I
even so, like
respect their process. I respect their process. That's a true collector mindset, not just get whatever, get money, dump on the market.
it's a balancing act.
Yep.
Definitely is. But so like some of the news that came out recently. I mean, I did a video on this. I'm not sure if you touched base too much on it, but I think you talked about Yanji last time. But the Monarch print runs came out recently, so
Yep.
we had 125K. That was definitely more than I thought it was, but I was not surprised when it came out that way. And then the James Bradshaw video was pretty good.
I think I mentioned the numbers myself. Even before the print runs came out, I was at Rudy's house, and it was Rudy, it was Dan from Open Boosters, it was Edwin, the Magic Engineer, and I think I said 105. Edwin said 110, and Dan said 140. And the number was literally between Dan's number and Edwin's number, and it was 19% above mine. Maybe I was a little too, a little too like optimistic about the numbers, like optimistic as a collector that there was a lot of scarcity, but I was 19% off, so shoot me, right? Like that's what is that? 20,000 boxes out of 125,000. That's not that big of a margin of error. It's not like that big of a deal. If it was like 200,000 boxes or 300,000 boxes, then that might be an overprint. But I still think, there's 8 revised boxes in the world for every 1 Monarch box. Every 8 Magic the Gathering revised boxes in the world for every 1 Monarch box. And those boxes are 15 grand a piece,
Yeah, and then what has me excited too is that James is really focusing on growing the game worldwide. So you get the bigger audience on it, then it makes those numbers seem really small. So
yeah. I mean, James has always been focused on growing the game, and I don't know where this whole misconception of he's here to make money for investors, he's here to give us a Q4 earnings report on our sealed product. It's like, hey, James, what about what's next quarter? What's your forecast for prices, James? How are you going to manipulate the market so that the flippers can make more money? What do you say about, I mean, I don't know. Some people might hate on me and say like they're taking me literally, but that above was sarcasm, But like James has never been about, oh, what are my prices going to? He pays attention to the secondary market prices and what's going on. Of course, who wouldn't? It's his game, it's his IP. But he's just concerned about producing a great game, which everybody agrees is a great game, right?
oh, it's fucking fantastic. I mean, that's why I got into collecting it in the first place.
Yeah, it's great art, and now they're beefing up the lore. I really enjoy just being able to, like, after a long day of work, just click into the Fab website and like, oh, what's the new article? What's the new article? Gameplay. Okay. It's great to talk about this interaction. It's great that somebody else is bitching about Starvo. It's great that I'm reading about how Viserai is just kicking ass and Sonata Arcanix and whatnot. These interactions, how they play out. That's all great, and I do read a couple of them. But reading stories about Cheyenne coming in and, giving some shape-shifting tech, it seems like, to Icelander, and how Icelander is going to a new land, and, about this new Mother of Dragons. That's some really cool stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and then also they're like now like they just dropped the news out of nowhere. They dropped stories, and now they're like, okay, is it 3 heroes? They didn't say for sure it's 3 heroes. Maybe it's 4 or 5. So everyone's now in the guessing stage, which gets everyone excited.
Didn't they just come up with an article, or there was a post on Facebook saying that they specifically talked about the Blitz decks, and they revealed that the new ninja guy, another Asian ninja, that's like replication. All ninjas are Asian. That's weird, right? Another Asian ninja dude, and Dromai, who's really, really hot, are both using the draconic talent, like
Yep.
dragon-based talent, and then there's ice for Icelander.
Mhm.
So that's confirmed. So I would say, like, we're probably 90% certain at this very moment that primarily it's going to be three heroes in Uprising.
Yeah,
Would you
but
agree by
with the
now,
way
or
LSS is dropping things, I'm like, oh my god, we're like, what surprises will I have? So everyone's like on a guessing
okay,
game right now. So it's kind of cool,
okay,
like, because we have Pro Tour coming out. Maybe James drops some news on there. Who knows?
yeah, we've
But,
got until June 24th. We've got Pro Tour and we've got the release. You're definitely going to the Pro Tour, right?
oh yeah, I already booked my trip.
Okay, cool, cool. I am playing in the Pro Tour, and the Pro Tour being, what is it, 12 days away? I'd like to actually figure out what I'm going to play. I better get my reps in at some point, I guess.
I'm playing the calling. I'm not doing the Pro Tour. I'm doing the calling aspect.
Okay, okay,
But I got three locals who got into the Pro Tour. They won the local events to get into it.
nice, nice. Okay,
Well, actually,
cool.
there's probably more locals, but the three are my team. Seattle Salt.
Awesome. Seattle Salt,
Yeah.
off of the Salty Whale theme. That is cool.
The funny part is Tall Timmy's team is Team Salt. So our teams are very similar names.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Tall
we're gonna
Timmy's
have
got
to.
a team? I didn't know he had a squad. I didn't know there were Bolton followers.
Oh yeah, he's got Team Salt. I don't know how many people are on it, but I think him and Fluke are on it at least.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So I'm guessing Timmy's going to be playing Bolton. Do you know what Fluke is playing?
I have no idea, but wasn't he a Dory person?
Well, I was a Dory person, but I mean, Dory's not viable in this current meta, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't really reevaluated it too much, but with the
Okay.
changes that Yanji was talking about it already on your video, but all these different changes, uh, even Katsu is more viable again.
Yes, I heard. Yes,
Because
because Katsu didn't get gimped like Vis and Starvo did. But
yeah,
a
because they
lot of
have
what I'm hearing
suspended
are,
now.
yeah, huh?
Instead of just having bans now, they have suspendeds for cards.
Well,
So
no, of course. That part I definitely got. But yes, the suspensions of the cards, as long as these main, you know, exceptional heroes are performing at a certain level until they become living legend. That
Mhm.
makes complete sense because, like, even things like Seeds of Agony, I think Seeds of Agony in itself was not oppressive, but when Seeds of Agony gave you additional go agains and gave you additional value and gave additional utility, while Chain was able to play literally a second hand, right? That like stacked oppression on top of oppression on top of oppression to the opponent, and it gave the player, the pilot, like such an enormous advantage that it just didn't make sense, right?
yeah, so the thing that got me excited about that is people always are bitching like, oh my god, people are banning cards. LSS bans too many cards. It doesn't mean they're banned forever now. So it's like, hey, we're gonna reevaluate it based on the hero rotating out. Maybe it's still
Yeah.
viable. So Seas of Agony is now suspended, not banned. They're like, hey, when Chain reaches living legend, we're gonna have a new shadow guy that actually might work with
Yeah,
it.
we'll give somebody else the chance to
Mhm.
you know, try out Seeds of Agony, and hopefully it's not oppressive, right? Same thing with Autumn's Touch. Like, Autumn's Touch, you're not a bad card. There's no problem with Autumn's Touch. It just happens that Autumn's Touch checks that box for Bravo with the 3 block, right? Or with Starvo with the 3 block, and it's
Mhm.
Earth. And he runs 9 copies because he could use it for the element, and he could like use his combo and just stack damage on top of damage. And it costs 3. So yeah.
Yeah, but I like what they're doing with it, and it's pretty cool. They gave us a few week notice before the event to figure things out.
Absolutely. I was thinking we'd wait until May 2nd, but I think it was a week early, like April 25th,
Mhm.
about what was happening May 2nd. So you have almost 3 weeks. And for a filthy casual like me, I mean, April 25th or May 2nd doesn't really matter. I'm probably, if the Pro Tour is like May 13th, I'm probably going to throw together a deck May 11th, play a couple of reps with it and be like, all right, I kind of know how it works. Let me like go and get stomped and just say I was part of it. Hopefully I take down one win.
Yeah, as long as you get that one win, it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prefer to get more, but
More
I'm
than one
sticking
win,
with
but
Katsu, so I
yeah,
don't really need to practice as much because I've been playing the same hero for the last year.
yeah,
So I just have to adjust to whatever the meta adjusts to me. So I have to like know when to block and whatnot,
absolutely. Yeah.
which is almost never.
Which is almost never. That I guess could be true. Huh. When would I block with Dory? Well, I try to block with maximum 2 cards and then play with 2 cards. So yeah, that's right.
Cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I want to talk about the Monarch a little bit though. So the Monarch, a lot of people are pissed off lately. I'm not. I mean, fortunately, like I got in, I bought my boxes at MSRP, so I have a different maybe mindset than a lot of other people. I got really good deals on my Monarch boxes. But some
Yeah.
people, like I think even you were paying $500 a box for Monarch at one point.
I purchased a couple hundred cases there at that price point. And I mean, I didn't say I was bitching. I said I had the right to bitch. I had more right to bitch than all the people that bought 1 or 2 cases, but I still bought those cases and I made the decision to buy those cases and I haven't sold any. I haven't sold a single fab card. I still want to hold on to my cases and enjoy them. I have to say though, when the market, went further down, I did dollar cost average to adjust my basis so that if there was a day where I was like, oh, what is my true cost of Monarch on these, whatever it is, 800 cases or something like that, then, whatever, 200 at $2,000 a case and 400 or 500 at, whatever, $800 a case, whatever that math comes out to. I don't even do accounting on my fab, honestly. I don't even have a spreadsheet. I just have, walls of product and now a storage locker full of product.
But you continue to buy in it because you believe in the product. So like the price drops, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna keep picking it up.
Yeah, let me just buy more. Just like years ago, when I still cared about Magic the Gathering, I continued to buy that product. I bought 640 boxes of Ultimate Masters. I bought 600 boxes of Modern Horizons. I bought probably no 600 to between 6 and 800 boxes of VIP Double Masters, for example. And I really enjoyed that product. But after many rounds of getting burnt, I just stopped. Like people weren't getting butthurt when I was buying hundreds of thousands of dollars of Magic the Gathering. But I buy this new game and it goes up. God forbid this guy enjoyed a paper gain on his product. He's the devil. Send him back to China. I'm not even Chinese. I'm a Taiwanese American, been here 40 years, out of like 95% of my whole life. But that's just the perception that they get. Like people are willing to rage at almost anything. But getting back to focused rage on Monarch,
Mhm.
like a lot of people are just really upset about Monarch. It's like nobody put a gun to their heads. Nobody forced them to buy that product. And not just people, like even other content creators are getting upset. I think Unhinged Magi, Open Boosters, and Edwin, they're kind of upset about Monarch. Rudy's not upset about Monarch itself. He's upset about what led to this, though, right?
Mhm.
You're a Rudy patron, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just one thing. I've just got his letter, his mid-month letter that came out, I think, last night.
Mhm.
And he mentions in his letter that what is it? Flesh and blood, market conditions of flesh and blood. He's like, when the money dries up in caps, when money dries up, stores, collectors, investors will continue to leave without correction action taken. Partners need to be fired. And he specifically calls out Channel Fireball / Card Shop Live. He's like, I do not know what's going on between LSS and CFB, but I suspect conflicts continue to take place between them. CFB continues to cause severe damage to consumer confidence, and in caps, many stores simply do not want to carry fab due to the lack of trust from CFB and random product dumps on the market from CFB. I know multiple stores who have stopped ordering fab from distribution and simply buy on fab dumps from CFB instead. Like that's really crazy. I can give more input on this that nobody else has because I've got insight as a former CFB content creator. But what are your thoughts about the Rudy rant?
I mean, I completely agree with them. I mean, when you see CFB do these random dumps, I mean, I don't necessarily get too pissed off all the time, but like, well, I wouldn't say I get pissed off, but I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Because they're undercutting the market. Tails is going up to like $90 a box, for example, is naturally growing. They're like, oh, then Channel Fireball's like, I have 1,000 boxes at 65. So I was like, okay, the market's
it was like 3,000 boxes that they released.
yeah.
So you agree with Rudy. Let me just give you a little bit of insight, because I don't think I've gone public with this information. I was literally at nationals. Like, you and I were hanging out, some mutual like community folks were just chill, and we were playing our side events. The skilled folks were in the callings. I had gotten knocked out by then, day 2. And I basically had Edwin and Open Boosters like tap me on the shoulder. They're like, Saint, what's going on with your boys on eBay? Everybody knows that Card Shop Live is Channel Fireball. Like, whatever the number was, it was either $67 or $72 a box. It was something insane. Like, they're literally breaking MAP, the minimum advertised price. There are rules here. There are rules in this community, and they're literally violating the rules and dumping, I think, close to 4,000 boxes. Like, they're running the event, they're running Fab Nationals, and I'm like, wait, they're dumping 4,000 boxes? And then I think Open Boosters were like, yeah, I just bought 1,000. And I'm like, wait, what? What the hell is going on? There's no way this could happen. There are rules, there are, contracts in place. What's happening? And within 5 minutes, I stopped hanging out with you and Matt Rogers and all those folks, and I stopped hanging out with Open. I walk to the side and I make multiple phone calls to equity holders, shareholders of Channel Fireball, like people that founded this company and are on the board. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they just played dumb. They acted like nothing happened. And because I was considering working much more closely to Channel Fireball, working much more closely, maybe getting involved in Channel Fireball, maybe, making a purchase of some sort, let's just say that. I was given lip service, and I was given an excuse, which I later found turned out to be a lie. So I personally had insight there, and I did not like how that went down. You know what I mean? Because Tales of Aria, they're here dumping 4,000 boxes. Like, I'm not a fan. I was a fan. I was so much of a fan. I gave them my time. I gave them free content, and I purchased, many, many thousands of pieces of their product, many thousands of items. But ever since that time in November, I still distinctly remember, it was like November 12th or something like that, right in the middle of nationals. I have not been a happy camper with how they're running the market. And I don't think Rudy's wrong for singling them out as the sole worst custodian of the Flesh and Blood brand. And
they're still dumping.
Be further honest with you.
Yeah.
No, they're still dumping product. They're dumping, 4 unlimited boxes plus 2 first edition boxes, Tales of Aria and Everfest, at $319, right?
Yeah,
that
it's like half
just
off.
happened. That just happened within the past 48 hours. And let me tell you something. I've had some calls with their management, again, the same people that founded that company, and I was put into a situation where I was asked to triage their sealed product position. I was looking for a solution for them not to need to dump product on the market, and I was asked a favor that would have cost me and my allies, my business partners, about $2 to $2.5 million to solve their sealed product allocation, to redirect their sealed product. This was 72 hours ago. I was on a Zoom call, much like this one. And then I said, give me 2 weeks to strategize and find a solution. And within 24 hours of that same phone call, they're out there dumping they're dumping products on the market at $53 a box. Like, honestly, that's such an indication of disrespect. You asked me for a favor. You asked me to, fucking figure it out for you. Figure out your problems of thousands of cases of sealed product. And this is like amateur hour. They, within 24 hours, they press the green light and they're dumping product at $53 a box on the market. That's literally what it is. $53 a box. 320 divided by 6 is $53.33 a box. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody in the list I've been chatting to is like, well, hopefully they completely dry up of boxes so that we don't have to deal with them anymore on that aspect.
Well, I've got my own information that tells me that they signed a contract between LSS and Channel Fireball. I am not a shareholder of either company, so I will not advise legally, but it's to their best interest to review their mutual contracts, maybe review their obligations on each side, and see if one side can get out or if the other side needs to be a little bit more responsible. All I know is that as an owner of multiple, corporations, if some of those actions were taken to me, I would have affirmatively and proactively litigated my opponents to the ground. That's all I'm saying, just from my experience. And I mean, even things like, if you remember, Everfest, on the pre-release of Everfest, they literally ran a box break like a week before the official release of the product. They were monetizing Everfest product. They were like, oh, well, somebody leaked it. Some small channel leaked it in Europe, which, LSS acted upon. And like, they're like, oh, hey, look, you know what? Since somebody else leaked it, we might as well just operate our box breaks and sell Everfest boxes before release, right? You remember that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone's like, hey,
Yeah.
you need to stop it. You're like, nah, we're good. And then
No, you don't talk to my manager, what the box breaker said, right?
Mhm.
And literally, I think it was Chris Bewley, the head of content for Legend Story Studio, saying, hey, I am the curator of content and you're violating LSS policies, right? And it was not for a certain time. Hey, Salty, I'm just letting you know that within 20 seconds of that individual going live, 20 seconds, I was already on the phone with a shareholder and a board member, calling his cell phone, blowing up his cell phone, saying, what the hell are you doing? You're not allowed to do this. And he had told me, oh, of course we're allowed to do this. Somebody else leaked it already. So, hey, who know, the pictures of the legend, the fabled card, the grandeur are already on the internet. So there's no harm done. And it's like, no, you have such a base. You have such an influence in the US market. Europe is small compared to the US. The US is probably 70, if not 80% of, of the flesh and blood market. And you're one of the largest LGSs in the US. Like, you got to know better than this. Somebody needs to know better than this at that organization. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just keeps happening, which is you're like, are they doing this on purpose? So
Yeah. And hey, the primary onus goes on CFB. Although honestly, I heard from Star City Games that, not I heard, I just saw with my own eyes, like CFB released at $300, Monarch pre-release. Star City Games was complicit. They went in and they both price fixed, right? At $295. I remember Star City Games selling their pre-releases at. And any other vendor that had an allocation that also fixed their prices accordingly was complicit, right? Anybody that didn't respect that map release was kind of complicit. Like, you sell for suggested retail of $99.99. That's great. You go $150, you go $200, you go $300. You're just as guilty. Nobody's a saint. You've all got blood on your hands in being complicit and also co-manipulating the market. And speaking of that, like, I just made an episode that released last Friday, I think. Yeah, I think it was last Friday. And I mentioned, something Fireball and Teams of Covenants. And I normally don't want to get this, but like, I normally don't want to pick fights, but get this. The founder of said Team of Covenants reached out to me at 9:41 a.m. on a Wednesday to my CEO email at my primary financial services business. And he's spouting litigious remarks. He's like, do you know who I am? Blah, blah, blah. I don't take your commentary lightly. Everything you said about Covenant, and I quote, everything you said about Covenant is hearsay and libelous. Like, all I said about Team Covenant was that they were dumping product on the market months after release, right? Like,
yep.
That's what they said. And I mean, I even have emails from July saying that, hey, look, for the betterment of the community, we're going to lower allocations from hundreds of boxes down to 24 boxes max. Like, they did that, right? And they held back product. You've got an experience, right? You've got a not small experience and a little bit of friction interacting with Team Covenant during this time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing directly with the owners and whatnot, but I pre-ordered Monarch back in fall of 2020 because they had the subscription program, whatever. So I got 532 boxes of Monarch through them. So they followed through an obligation. So they did good on that. But what happened was, right before Tails release, they dropped the allocation from 532 boxes to 24 boxes. So there are only a few other people like me who pre-ordered quite a few boxes like that. I saw an opportunity and I was like, all right, I'm going to lock in my subscription like 8 months early, and they
Yeah.
followed through on it. But then afterwards, they're like, you're out of it. So I was
So
like,
they,
hey,
they changed the game. They
yeah,
rug pulled you by over 500 boxes at whatever it was,
mhm.
79, 89, $99, right?
Yep, they rug pulled me. I was not happy at all. It cost me about 20 grand for tails on that aspect. I
Yeah.
did make a lot of new connections afterwards, which is great, which is actually, better deal than them now. But still, it's like, hey, that's fucked up. Is you got a subscription program, you like, cut me out on it.
It is absolutely fucked up. In this day and age, people act all entitled. They act self-righteous. And this Zach Bunn guy, he acts like he doesn't have blood on his hands, right? He rug pulled you for hundreds of boxes, saved those, tried to chalk it up to, oh, an error in subscriptions or something like that, right? And here he comes back to me. He basically makes an admission in writing. He's like, oh, let's see. And I quote, we were uncomfortable putting those Monarch boxes on the market at $500 a box for the same reasons we didn't have to have subscriptions to be $500 a box. It's against our ethos. Ironically, we were also aware of what listing all those boxes at Monarch's release for MSRP might do to the market. So we waited until the boxes came down around $250 a box at the time, and then listed ours for around $200. It just so happened that around the time we were listing them, CFB and another distributor revealed they had a lot of boxes they'd been sitting on. So this guy's trying to slide off and get off the hook like he's some saint. These boxes cost him $46 a box, and he's charging $200. And he's like, oh, well, they're making 800% margin on their product. I'm only making 435% margin on mine. And I'm free from blame. And he's out here like stepping in an email to my main business, a registered licensed financial institution, and telling me that he wants to sue me. And meanwhile, I've got emails from October 19th from Covenant with their company material, marketing material. We're writing because you're on our flesh and blood email list, and we have a limited number of Monarch First Edition. They're well under market price at $800 per case. That's still a 435% return on your $46 cost basis. November, same thing. Zach won the Pro Quest in Orlando. Oh, because of that, 2X Tales of Aria First Edition, 1X Monarch First Edition for $300. They're still dumping product. They're dumping, Monarch at 200, let's call it, and Tales at 50 each, right? Or whatever it is. It could be Monarch at 150 and Tales at 75 each. So, yep. I mean, it's not about the severity. Like, if you have product, that was the accusation. That was the general perception that I had heard of, that there was product months after the initial release. And you, as a steward of this, of this brand, you have product. It is your responsibility to release as much of it transparently to the market as possible, right?
Yeah, they used
500 boxes, 100 boxes, you're still complicit there, right?
Yeah, so they had the subscription program, and they're like, anybody who does not make the payment on it, we're keeping the boxes. That was their thing. So,
but it's an excuse, and they rug pulled you.
Yeah, I had the Monarch boxes. They rug pulled me for Tails, so I had a shit ton of Monarch boxes. So I got those. But they rug pulled anybody who wasn't able to get the boxes, and they had people on a waiting list that they could have given the boxes to, but they decided to hold on to the boxes that were dropped. I got rug pulled for Tails, which cost me 20.
But they gave me that same excuse. This Zach guy said the same thing in writing about the pre-orders, that some boxes were never charged. We had a number of failed payments, they said, that didn't clear for Monarch subscriptions. Whatever excuses he needs to make, I doubt 1,000+ boxes didn't clear subscriptions. And I think it had to do with the way they rug pulled multiple people who had, committed to paying money, made pre-orders, maybe even paid up front, and then reduced the allocation, right? That's about what happened, right? They reduced the allocation to 24. They said in writing in 20.
Yeah. So for Tails, they reduced the allocation for anybody who had over 24 boxes.
Okay.
And so I had a 532 subscription. So right before Tails got released, mine got dropped down to 24. I kept that subscription because it was like right before release, but I dropped the subscription afterwards because I didn't like that practice. They were more than happy to take my subscription before Flesh and Blood got, super popular.
Yeah, you need a certain amount of volume, and if you were grandfathered in and you had a certain agreement, you don't want to get rug pulled against, and they did that. right? They
Yeah, that's
probably
what
did
happened.
that to clear that allocation and say, oh, look, if he had 532 boxes, I only need to deliver 24. Now I could keep 508 boxes and make profit off of this allocation, right?
I'm not sure what they did with the Tails boxes, but the Monarchs, they definitely held back. I don't know how much they did with Tails or not.
Yeah.
But they definitely did it with Monarch.
They did it with Monarch, and there was pushes on the market October, November, and December, of which I've got emails and proof on.
Which was a little bit frustrating because the market was starting to balance out with Monarch, about $900 to $1,000 a case, as
Yep.
that email said. That
It
when,
said
when you
about
have when you have a
$250
big
a box.
distributor coming
Yeah.
back say, hey, we have 1,000 plus boxes, everyone's like, fuck, how many things are out there? Who else is holding back? So it created a lot of doubt in the market.
Yeah, but my point about this, and I'm not going to go on ranting about this, is that
Yep.
yo, you are, I do this for a hobby. Fab is less than 1% of my net worth. You go bother me at my banking business where I'm the CEO and I report to, banks and private equity groups, and you threaten me with litigation. Like, I had to involve my legal team, and they start billing out at $800 an hour, my litigation team. And they're like, do we want to crush this person? Because I think they're in Oklahoma. I've done due diligence on, their company. I think they're valued in the single digits of millions. Like this company's valued maybe in the single digits of millions, probably under 10 million. I manage, at any given day, I manage between $3 and $3.5 billion of private wealth. Like, he came here threatening to sue me. I did let him know. I mean, he's got one out. If he shuts the fuck up and stops sending me communications in a legal manner and he learns how to come correct, maybe hit me up on my Fabled Hunters email, then we might not need to take away his livelihood. Otherwise, you better come correct next time. That said, that was not directed at you, sir. That said, let's move on. Let's talk about the other things in Flesh and Blood.
There's a lot of other things, but
we don't have to take livelihoods today. We
don't have that's not fun to deal with. So
companies.
It was shitty, the whole process that went down, and shitty they're attacking you on that. But you know what? I don't think it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, going back to Monarch and the public outcry, it's like, boo-hoo, you lost $300. Boo-hoo, you lost $300 on a box. Just hold on to the box. Wait, there's not that many boxes. 125,000 boxes is not that many boxes. You give it 5 years, throw it in the closet. It'll be fine, right? And then nothing really that bad happened with Tales of Aria, other than the CFP dump. And I think Everfest has been pretty good, pretty quiet at $75 to $78 or something like that, right?
Yeah, and the singles are going really quick too. So like, there's box prices and single prices. They have some Jessics in there like $20. So like, I look at all aspects of the market too. And same thing too, like you said, when you rebuy, like I got a good price, as I mentioned. I paid MSRP for my Monarch boxes, so I got in good. But I still buy a lot of singles, and I open a lot of boxes too. So I've been buying a lot of Monarch since December, January, February, because I thought the prices were undervalued. Because people have the negative aspect of it. So I use that as an opportunity to rebuy singles when people are like, hey, it's not worth anything. The Monarch numbers come out, the market's already starting to rebound. And then we have
Uprising. I think we've already reached the bottom. There's plenty of signs of Fab Spring. I think I was the first one to call Fab Winter, and I was right to, right? I had to call it out because around November of 2021, there were still pie in the sky people who were like, oh, Saint, I've got this hard to find doll and it's graded whatever. I want $100,000. It's such a good deal. And I just got inundated with people thinking that I was like the local ATM machine. Like, people who accumulate wealth, they don't make stupid purchases. That's how they accumulate wealth, right? But there are people like coming at me with stupid prices. That I made that Fab Winter video, and I think like a lot of people came to their senses. I also had to block a bunch of people like, oh, look, I've got a couple of Twinning Blade EAs. Give me $5,000 a piece. I was like, in no universe is any human being going to give you $5,000 for Twinning Blade. I mean, if it were 10, maybe. But you know what I mean? There was a lot of outrageous stuff.
Well, you had to, the prices went up quite a bit in May, and then the prices started dropping down over the months, which happens. But some people have that main mindset or equal mindset from last year, they're like, oh, the prices are going to keep going up. They keep going up. Sometimes they go down. It's a newer game. I think Rudy mentioned this a few times. You probably mentioned too. Is the market swings are harder for a newer product because you have a lot of doubt aspects. We just talked about the doubt with CFB and TC, causing doubt, and then you had the people
And
on
it's
the
not
real
just
estate
those two. I mean, I
There's
don't
more.
want
There's
to. I
more.
mean,
There's
CFB
more.
is the worst offender, I would say, and this
Yeah.
is as a former CFB content creator and as
Yeah.
somebody that had interest in being a shareholder of CFB. Like, they're the worst. Team Covenant's just another example. I think there was like what some collective group or something like that, or some collectible group as well.
There's a few stores that dropped too, but eventually that all ended. But when you have big stores come up product out of nowhere back in last fall, it created a lot of doubt in the market too. There's a ripple effect everything. But lately the market's gone up, and for example, Fab 2.0. Not to go too much into the market thing because there's a lot more exciting things than just a market. But
Yep.
you got Fab 2.0 come out. James saying how he's fixing things. I mean, I
Mother
really like
Dragons,
it. I
Drill
love what
Eye.
he's doing with it. I mean, they're combining the boxes together, so no more first, no more unlimited. So you're not gonna have stores holding back boxes.
Yep.
In case, like for example, let's say there's a shortage, you don't have to worry about stores holding. So I like the fact that they're combined now. Now they got the
Absolutely.
3 times
Yeah,
more
it's going to be
rare.
printed demand. There's not going to be any illusions about how much product there is. There's not going to be, let me hold back thousands of cases and wait and see, right?
So how do you view it as a collector now that it's going more towards the print and demand?
Hey, honestly, I mean, there's good and bad because it used to be like these first edition boxes were special,
Mhm.
but that perception has ended and it's actually faded. It's time. I mean, even James said, you know what? They used to be special when first edition boxes were 17,000 printed and 37,000 printed. But after the numbers got into the six figures, it didn't make as much sense. So that's a little feels bad that there isn't like, something that caters towards collectors, welcomes players, but caters towards collectors. Now, on the other hand, the fact that cold foils and extended arts and special cards and these marble cards are going to be printed even less than in first edition boxes, and
Yeah.
that means people will need to open more. I think that's appealing. I like that part of scarcity increasing, but not scarcity for the sake of scarcity. Like there's a playable version, there's a rainbow foil version, maybe there's a non-foil version, and then there's a really awesome beefed up cold foil version that won't get printed out again.
Yeah, I mean, I love the aspect too. And the thing too is like, even if this new set happens to be 3 or 4 times more the size of Monarch, the cold foils would be similar in rarity to that too. So that's what I
Yeah.
like about the extended rarity on that too. I know some people are really upset, like, oh my god, I'm gonna struggle to purchase all the cold foils now.
Don't purchase cold foils.
You
Hey,
got
it's a
rainbow.
player's game. It's never not been a player's game. Either you put up for the scarcity or you settle for the rainbow foil or non-foil, right?
Yeah, and those cards still look good. But it's what I like. I like the rarity of the cold foils. Um, I still like the rarity in the Monarch too. But what I like about it is it gives you something to get really excited about. So instead of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get a legendary in my box cold foil, kind of expect it and get upset when you don't get it. Now you're not gonna expect it in a case. You're gonna randomly get it. And when you get the cold foil, legendary or fable, it's gonna feel that much more special now, I think.
Absolutely it is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I like it from a collectible standpoint. Is okay, well the game's printing more, so it'll be more of these, but I don't think it's gonna be dramatically too many more of these because it's 3 times more rare. And when you actually pull it or acquire one, you're gonna feel that much more special about it. And what I think about that too, it's gonna make the first edition boxes from the first 6 sets feel even more special because you have the higher chances of getting the cold foil. So I think it's add the specialty, unique feeling back to cold foils again too. So that's
Yep.
that's
Yep.
my
Yep.
viewpoint on it. It's from a collector side. Not talking price, but just the the
Yeah.
scarcity aspect of cold foils.
We never really need to talk price because
Mhm.
like price, there's a spot price for all these products right now. But I said from the beginning, like people call me shill, but like, hey, there are literally people who've got more experience than the viewers out there. There are people who've been there and done that. And for me, this is not my first rodeo. This is like my third or fourth rodeo. I've monetized Pokemon, I've monetized Magic the Gathering, I've monetized even like arcade coin pusher cards and created economies out of those and profited off those. And this time I'm like, hey, this isn't about money. This is just about passion. I'm gonna buy I'm gonna enjoy, consume, and then I'm going to hold whatever I don't open. Even the stuff I do open, I'm gonna sleeve up and put it away for 20 years or more. And if the game's still around in 20 years, I hope it is, knock on wood, I hope it is, then great. And if it's not, then I had fun, right? I had fun, I had experiences, I made friends. Like me, you, I think Dana, Nick, I think even Badger, like who's not going to forget after the nationals of, the U.S. nationals of Flesh and Blood, congrats to Tariq Patel, my friend and a really, really good fab player. But we had fun as people. We were not even talking fab. We were at a Dave and Buster's bar just getting lit. And I was playing video games and showing you guys how I advantage played after getting lit. That is a result. That is why I got into this game, to make the connections and make experiences with people, unforgettable experiences. I mean, maybe you forgot because I know you drank a lot that night.
Oh, I was shit-faced. Yeah.
But I remembered the fun times. I remembered like James Curry trolling me and like hitting me when I was like playing Floppy Bird. And I remember like Nick just giving me a hard time. He's like, Saint, can you just focus on one thing? Can you either drink or go play video games and make money? Why are you trying to drink and play video games and make money at the same time? Right? He was giving me such a hard time about it, but it was just all in fun. It was a great time.
Yeah, that's fun about these events. That's why I always go to these events. Pro Tour, I look forward to it. It's like a little mini vacation. You have fun, you meet people. It's very enjoyable. And that same thing too is like the Flesh and Blood Seattle group, which I helped start. I met a lot of people that way too. So like that's what I love about Flesh and Blood is everything. Meeting the people, playing the games, collecting the cards. It's got the whole system in place.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good.
I mean, even like Vegas, which hopefully we do again. Dude, you totally did not make it to my suite in Vegas. But last time in Vegas, like I got this huge suite. I got a room block of like 15 rooms where like it might as well have been called the evil investor, convention, because we had this little gathering of evil investors, and like they were looking at Flesh and Blood. They surveyed the scene over at the first calling in September, but that was only the first 3 days. I think we as a group stayed for like 4 or 5 more days. Like we stayed over a week and we gambled together, we drank together. There's so many shenanigans. A couple of our buddies got banned for throwing a baby in the pool at one of these things. It was crazy. Security got involved. We played. Some of us made a lot of money. Some of us lost our asses, but we had an awesome story and we had an awesome experience that couldn't be replicated. And it's like the mental landmark was, whoa, that was the first calling in the US, Just like I told you about the first nationals. Yeah. Like these experiences are just priceless.
And we got the first Pro Tour coming up. And then,
yes.
So there's just lots of good stuff going on.
Dude, I've got the skull cap, the Dawn Blade, and the hammer, the Winter's Whale. Of the three, which one are you most excited about? Three. Which one are you most excited about trying on or taking a picture with?
Oh, the Dawn Blade.
The Dawn Blade? Okay, yeah. Durant the Bay for life, huh?
Yeah, well, she's my first. So like
she's my first as well, and my favorite. Just she's not my favorite right now. I might have to slide myself into another waifu for a little bit, just a little bit.
Well, we got the new young one coming out. We got a new alternate version of her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and the collector's box. So she might come back.
She might come back. I hope so, at least for Blitz. And I think, if they could do like Starvo or Bravo Star of the Show, there's going to be another iteration of Durant the Bay. I'm very confident of that.
I mean, she went Super Saiyan like a few weeks ago. That story they had of her.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She
like cutting down that evil monster creature.
Yeah. She had to she went full like light mode. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I checked out the Cheyenne and the Icelander ones. I didn't read that one. I was probably traveling for work.
That was like 2-3 weeks ago.
Check it out. Yeah. Oh, I think I skimmed it. It was the one where her and Bolton like were getting their ass kicked, and then they somehow, like you said, went Super Saiyan and overcame that evil force, right?
And then they're setting up this thing. They're trying to get emissaries to help them out in the battle of Monarch, essentially.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely read up. That's a couple weeks ago. I guess I didn't catch up on all of my reading.
there's a lot, and there's gonna be more drops. It seems like too. It seems like the
Yeah.
LSS says they're gonna focus more on story. So that's good. That's coming out. So
And they are. I remember all the polls on the Flesh and Blood fan groups in the past year, and I think lore was like it was number one, and they're definitely focusing on it. They're and with going back really quick to what you were saying about only one edition. I don't want to say they ended first. I'd rather say they ended unlimited, and everything here on out, Uprising starting, is really first edition because it's the first edition and only edition getting printed, right? And this kind of bridges that gap between players and collectors because collectors can be players and players can be collectors, and sometimes you can be both. So there's no classes. There's no like, wealthy citizens and second citizens, and that's all that bridges the divide.
oh,
So if
I love
anything,
that. I love that direction on it.
yeah,
Everybody has a chance for a cold foil at a good price now.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
Anybody could open a box. I mean, it's gonna be hard as fuck to do so, but anyone could open it and get a cold foil Fable. That's 120 boxes roughly now.
right? That's a speculation. Some people are saying the Fable would still be 1 in 40, but I honestly I agree with you. I think it's going to be that much more rare. You might have to pull like 1 in 40 of the rainbow foils, but wait for like 1 in 100, 1 in 120 for the Fabled card.
Yeah, which is gonna feel so good when you get it, and hopefully it's a good centering and everything when you get those too. But
yeah, right.
what I like too encourages people to open boxes and to keep it sealed, right? So
Absolutely,
it's good keeping sealed, but I like the fact that like, hey, you want to crack the boxes to get the cold foils now, get the special stuff. There's a lot of chance.
Yeah, and the fact that there's going to be waves of release until end of print, that's going to make the market a little more transparent, a little more fair. It's going to encourage all the distributors to keep their noses clean, right? Because there's no additional incentive to just buy a bunch and hold it back and keep it withheld from the general market.
Well, that's what Rudy was saying too in that email you pulled up. Is that one, CFBs having issues, but also distributors need to release the product too. You can't just hold stuff back. You got to sell what you're supposed to sell.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so what else is on the docket, bro?
Well, I mean, CFB, we definitely covered that. But I was gonna say, like, when stuff comes out, like prices go up too. Like me and you have different views in the market. Like you're the 20-year hold, and me, I like to hold as much of my collection as I can, but also like I check out the micro interactions and all that. So what I mean by that is like I do spec buys and stuff like that. So I bought a lot of footsteps in January. I bought a lot of I have a foot thing, I guess, for Flesh and Blood.
Foot fetish. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know, whatever. Some reason I like the foot, the feet, and Flesh and Blood.
Dude, foot equipment is really awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like refraction bolters, what is it? Snapdragon scalers, Valiant Dynamo. Those pieces are really, really cool. And the Illusionist, the Phantasmal Footsteps. There's something about the feet gear, like everybody's all about that tunic, but then you gotta look down, you gotta take care of your feet. Your hero needs shoes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then like so the Phantasmal Footsteps, a lot of spec buying, and then, so I did a lot of that because the reason being is when I look at these cards, I'm like, hey, any illusionist could use it. And then we got a lot of updates to Prism with Everfest, and now we're getting new illusions this summer. So the Phantasmal Footsteps cold foils are like $400 now. So like little. That's what I think find very interesting about this the market in general is it's pretty thin, and all it takes is a little bit of excitement to wipe out certain cards. And it's not that much on the market. I was saying that back in January. Now we got a new illusionist. Now the cold foil footsteps will from like 230 to 400. And so like even with the print run size of that, there's still a lot of demand for these cards. So it's pretty exciting. And then you see the nobody's caring about Wizard for a while. Then you had 2 cold foil Stormstriders sell this week. So it's just cool how like LSS gets the Fab 2.0 Monarch numbers, and everyone's like, oh my god, we're all bitchy now. Uprising's coming out, everyone's all excited again. And then like people relax with their wallets and start buying cards for their heroes.
Yeah, so people have such short memories, and they just spend money on very emotionally. That's why they came out with that term sheeple, right? The masses. I don't know what it is with people. I mean, everybody with a pair of fingers and a social media account thinks that they're God and they know better than everybody else. Yet when something happens, they just react and they forget what happened 2 weeks ago. And
which is good to focus on the good stuff too, anyways. Though, like
no, that's good too. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I'm a scholar of history, and there's all those sayings that about history repeating itself, and people are like, you don't know anything. Fab is completely different, and I'm like, I know enough to have had multiple conversations with the founder of Flesh and Blood, and I know that he has a background in Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering because he played Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering, organized tournaments for Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering, and a lot of his mindset in his releases are correlated to how Magic took its route to go into the mainstream, spread into the mainstream, spread into the global consciousness. So a lot of people are like, Fab is not MTG. You're right. However, Fab used MTG's rails, and James is trying to avoid the pitfalls that MTG fell into.
But there's no point in
Fab is
reinventing
also
the
a
wheel.
much better game.
There's no point in reinventing the wheel. They reinvented the game, right? But the Fab's a fantastic game, but they don't have to like start from scratch and like not use the same history. Like, hey, all these products have launched in the past. Let's take whatever worked well and go with it and modify it.
Let's eliminate Mana Screw, for example. They did that, right? They definitely did that, and that means it's not going to be like 20% of all games being played sucking. That's why every single game is pretty much a great game. I mean, almost every single game. There's one game at Nationals where I got goose egged by Prism, and I felt really, really, really bad. It was a unique experience, but it felt really, really, really bad.
It's a challenge because you have optimal hero matchups, so you might have like a 70-30% chance of winning on that. So like when I play Oldhim, I get my ass kicked as Katsu, but
really?
if I play against Prism, I kick her ass. So like there's a different like matches are there, but you're not getting fucked over because your card draws. You're getting fucked up because of different strategies and all that. And I think Yonju was saying, the card pool is small right now in your last episode. So as long as you get the bigger card pool in the future, you have more options. Now we have a brand new Ninja coming out, so Ninja's gonna get more cards. Illusionist will get more cards, and we don't have a Runeblade yet, so Runeblade's not gonna get buffed this time. And then so you have right. So no one's bitching about that.
Time.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it's Flesh and Runeblade. Well, you know what? There's more heroes than just
Runeblade. Guardians and Runeblades.
But so we got that. But so yeah, you mentioned like a Fab Spring a little bit. So what do you think about what's going to happen to Monarch? Not Monarch, just the market in general now. Like, so for example, we've had bearish for quite a while. What do you think Uprising is going to do to like the mindset? I guess
I'm not going to be so confident and say that we're going to expect a boost. Yep. That would be really foolish. What I will say is that a lot of the people that initially were very bullish right around Monarch time, a lot of the bigger spenders, they looked back and they saw the pattern, they saw the competitive season before this current season that just passed with the 250 gold foils. And I didn't say anything to them. I'm not trying to influence them because that season is essentially over. Mm-hmm. But I would say from personal firsthand experience, having tried to compete for about 50 of those gold foils and only successfully taking down 15, that means that there are 50 interactions where multiple avid collectors were trying to acquire these scarce items, and I lost 35 of those bids. And I'm a pretty aggressive bidder. I'm pretty aggressive about hitting my destination. Like if I go in for 50 items, I very seriously want to end up owning about 25 of those items. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, Salty? Like the gold foils are getting people back because people are like, whoa, there's only 250 gold foils and there's like 15 types of gold foils. That means maybe there's only 12 of each gold foil printed roughly, right? Or whatever the math comes out to. So the gold foils brought people back. The Icelander cards or the Wizard cards are back in the right swing. But throughout this time, around January to current, I myself have been slowly accumulating positions. Not really doing buyouts, but just buying certain categories of cards that are scarce that I like from the first 3 sets. And it's already done. Like I kept looking, I've been looking, and now the market's run dry. And it's like all those people that are bitching, all the sheeple that think they know better and they're getting, anxious and whining about losing a little bit of money, they've been clueless. I've just, myself and a couple others have just bought all the gems that are available quietly because it's right there in plain sight, right? Like, let's say a Lord of Wind has been out there for $400 or $500, even $600. I've bought up all the Lord of Winds. There weren't that many, Rainbow Foil Enlightened Strikes to begin with, but I've already owned a good amount. Now I own more. Same thing with Command and Conquers, the original out of 400, right? Same thing with the Pop One Cold Foils. I had to fight through a lot of people, but even after fighting through and outbidding a lot of people, the prices were still really low. I don't think, people are using their brains when they think about scarcity. And it's never too late because we're so early in the life cycle of this game. But people need to really pay attention and be like, whoa, a tunic where there's only 800 printed, I might want one now because, look at that Magic the Gathering Alpha Black Lotus. There's only 1,000 of them printed, and wow, what type of idiots are out there paying, $200,000 to $1 million for these Black Lotuses? No one would pay that, right? Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yet 3 of them transacted in the 1 million range just these past 12 months. So, the Alpha Black Lotuses. And
yeah, it's scarce. There's so many people that play Magic. The same thing's gonna happen to Flesh and Blood. It keeps growing. And then
but people, everybody's saying it's not there now. It's not there now. Flesh and Blood is gonna fail. If you believe that, shut the fuck up and go back to Magic. Right?
Oh, sell your stuff and get out. Yeah.
Yeah. See your way out. If you're still just mad and you'd like to complain, like, we're not here to give you attention. We're here to spread positivity and share how we feel. Right?
Well, that's why I get called a shield. Sometimes you get called a shield because we love the game. We care about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I wasn't always happy with different aspects of the game, but I've been happy with the decision making of LSS, and I'm very public about that because what they're thinking of, what their vision and their direction is pure. It is for the good of the TCG market. What distributors do, which we harped on earlier, let's not go through that whole circle. What distributors do and what LGSs do and what greedy individuals that don't have the right ethos are doing, that's out of the control of Legend Story Studios. And the normal viewer, doesn't, they just want to be mad. They just want to point the finger at somebody, and it's really, really sad.
That's why you have to get emotions out of it too. And I bought a few Rainbow Foil Majestics this week as well, because they're good prices for how rare they are. And
absolutely. There's only 400, so if I get 4, I get 1% of the run, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to buy 1% of the run of every Alpha Black Lotus, every Ancestral Recall, every Mox Sapphire, Diamond, Jet, Pearl, Emerald. Who cares about emeralds? But yeah.
But that it's there for the taking still. And then people are like, oh, no one's buying them. Well, they're not buying it now, maybe, but they're really good prices and they're sitting on the market. You buy 2 of them.
Wait, where are you still finding Rainbow Foil Majestics? Serious question, because I've already purchased everything within reason on eBay.
Somebody opened an Arcane box this week and pulled a Kano one.
Okay.
And I snapped it as soon as I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook.
And someone sold a Glint, whatever it's called, Quicksilver, whatever, the Dory one. So I got that one. I got a 9 for it, a 9 BGS for it. Then I found a Rainbow Foil Lord of Wind yesterday too. That was on TCG Player.
Okay. So you've got the time to look. I just have my little screen, and yeah, some people beat me to it, but I'm always in the market for Rainbow Foil Majestics from the first 2 sets, ARC and WTR. FabledHunters@gmail.com, everybody. I'll give you money.
Yeah, say that again. I was talking over it.
Oh, sorry. I was saying FabledHunters@gmail.com. I'll buy Rainbow Foil Majestics from, Alpha and Arc first.
Yeah, sell the Saint. Man, they're not selling quickly. Let him have them.
Huh?
I said they're not selling too quickly right now, so let Saint have them if you don't want them.
Yeah, right? If they're not selling, like, nobody wants them. Only me and Salty, right? Those are the only people that want them, apparently.
Nobody else cares.
Nobody else cares. It's okay. Don't care. Go back to going about, Everfest and Monarch and Uprising and whatnot.
So last thing I want to bring up is Marvels. So what do you think about the dragons?
The dragons, well, I don't know if it's confirmed that the dragons, all Marvels are dragons, or all dragons are Marvels. We only know about that one dragon, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that that iteration of that dragon is really cool. It reminded me of like the Urser and the Blasmofet, limited edition like foils, the cold foils of those that Rudy was distributing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that, but I believe that if you pull it out of the pack, it's probably going to be that much more valuable. Like, I don't know if you remember the card Tarmogoyf from Future Sight, like Tarmogoyf foils. Those were really, really, really valuable. I think they're still like $800 a piece or something. The Tarmogoyf creature, although it's been reprinted like, 50, 60 times, the Tarmogoyf from Future Sight in foil is amazing. I think the Marvels are going to be like that. And I'm just a big fan of that full art treatment. Like the first time I saw that Bravo's other side of, the Starvo cold foil,
Yeah.
I was like, this is really impressive. Will they get away with this? Will this be in style? And I was like, well, if everybody knows what the card does, then you can get away with displaying and playing this card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you always keep the token on the side too if someone's confused, because they have the non-special versions as well. But yeah, I'm really excited about it too. The same thing too is like there's a difference of a promo where you're given it versus like you have to earn it. So these Marvels, even though they might be the same rarity, you have to like open X amount of boxes to even get it. So that makes it seem even more scarce than it actually is too. The
Yep.
hard to pull rate. You have to open a lot of product to get it. I think that affects the value too. But I'm excited about the new art treatments. I mean, I'm gonna get the Bard when they have the promo, the Yorick, whatever it's called.
Yorick and Taylor, right?
Yeah. Well, I can't get Taylor. I'm not cosplaying.
Well, I'm just saying you could go like to Christine Sparkles and be like, yo, what's up, girl? How much? Right?
That's a good
No,
point.
for the Taylor I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point to hit up the cosplayers and get some cards off them.
Okay, don't beat me to it. I might have to
Thanks for the tip, Saint. I wasn't thinking about
make nice with some of the CFB folks. I don't know, especially after my opinions, but my opinions are my opinions, and I'm being transparent. Like I said, even being a CFB content creator, even being somebody very interested in their organization, my feelings are my feelings, and I can't change the way I feel, so I might as well just come out and say it.
I mean, these companies could course correct too and stop fucking around. So, like they've done stuff in the past, they fucked up, but it doesn't mean I have to keep doing it that way. So
Yeah, they gotta stop with this little league bullshit and learn what it means to honor their contracts and value their relationships. That's always something I've had a problem with in the TCG market. A lot of people don't value relationships. They're so, they live from like cycle to cycle, paycheck to paycheck, month to month, and they're so caught up in that because of how fierce the competition is that they really don't value their integrity. Like, in my business in banking, I've developed my reputation for 25 years, and I value my reputation very much. So much that sometimes, in a long-term contract, I've had years where I've literally taken on business and lost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, but I had to fulfill that contract, and I'm willing to take the hit because my reputation is worth much more than those millions of dollars.
yeah, you had the agreement with it and you follow through on it, and they'll remember that next time you renegotiate.
Yeah, they'll remember it, or you'll get blackballed, or you'll get shunned and eventually pushed out of the industry. I've always personally wanted to have a stake, have a managing stake in the TCG space, and I'm currently working with a couple of very, very large capital sources to do so, but let's stay tuned. We'll find out, and I think the market eventually will figure itself out.
Cool. All right, Saint. It's been great chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing you at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, likewise. Let's hang out for Pro Tour, and let's make plans for Vegas. All right.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of a room block, holla at your boy.
I'm down for that.
All right. Very good. Till next time, man.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye now.